Hey, everybody. Hey, Nick. Hey.
We live?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's see how many people we can get on.
Yes.
Give them
Let me
some
put my
time.
glasses on because I'm over here looking like I'm 50. You know how old people, they in the FaceTime, like, that's me.
So I don't know a lot about it, but it will notify my followers and yours, right?
No, so it will notify my followers, but you told people, so I got some followers. So they'll
Okay.
see me and
Okay.
hopefully they're doing their homework, okay?
Okay.
But I see we have 27 eyeballs, so that's pretty good in the first minute. So okay,
Great.
bring
Okay.
them out, Ricardo.
Okay.
Okay.
We gotta bring him out.
Okay, so I just wanted to give everybody some background. I started following Ricardo. It's been some years, Ricardo. It's been years because I started following you from Dominique Remix, and it was you, it was Demetrius, and it was a couple of other people you guys had in the group, and you were like promoting each other.
Mhm.
So I
LaShawn was in it.
right. So I,
Mhm.
I was like, okay, more designers, to see what everybody's doing, getting inspiration and everything. And plus, all you guys were black. So I'm
Right.
like, cool. And then from there, you know, I don't know how we just started talking. We just started talking, and it was going down in the DM about work and everything.
Right.
And one time I said, "Isn't this?" I had. This is when the stories, you could do the stories, and I don't know if it was in the story. I can't remember, but I had asked the question about a photo that I had taken, if it was magazine worthy. You remember that?
Mhm. Oh yeah, yeah. And I said no, no.
Yo. And I like that because that's what I wanted. I wanted like
Right.
feedback, and you were saying, you gave your critiques and everything, and I was like, yeah, it's time to start getting professional photos.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
from then, I said nobody will say no again.
Right.
Let me get these photos. And it was, even though I feel like I have the eye for angles, it's just nothing like a professional photo
Right.
that
Once
that
you
good.
start using a professional photographer, it's like, wow. You
Right.
you look at your iPhone photo and then you put it beside that. It doesn't compare. It's
That
awesome.
exposure from the lights and all that is like, this is garbage. Let me
Right.
let the professional do it. And then we started talking about, different photographers. And then that's when I learned the difference between a real estate photographer and an interior photographer.
Exactly.
And
And
it's
it's a
a
huge
big
difference.
difference. Yes,
Exactly.
yes. So we can
Exactly.
get into that, as we get further into the talk. So I know, well, I know, but I don't know if everybody else knows, you have a full-time job at a university, which I just
Mhm.
think is utterly ridiculous. I always tell you to quit all the time.
Right.
So how did you get started in design?
First, let me just say hello to tons of these people that I saw come on. My mother is on here.
Is
I saw
she?
my little brother on here. I see you, Alicia. I saw Tiara. I saw Andre. I saw a ton of people. So thank y'all for tuning in. Hopefully y'all get something out of it, and then ask questions too at the end. But I started doing interior design first on a teacher salary, doing my own place. People came over. They thought it was awesome, and I would dip and dab. I did some things for my mother, some aunts, and then somebody asked, "How much do you charge?"
Right.
And I was like, "Oh, wait, people get paid for this?" Not knowing,
Yes.
And so we'll fast forward. I started taking some classes for interior design and started putting myself out there on social media. In 2012, I was furloughed from my job at the university. So the government shut down and our funding was shut down. And so for 2 weeks, we were without work. We were told, don't come to work. We don't know if you're going to get paid. Keep checking your email.
Mm.
And so I started making headboards. I was working with an upholsterer. I started making headboards, and I said, I'm going to make 2 a day and I'm going to sell these. So if I don't get paid from the university, I'm going to get paid from myself.
Right.
So I was making headboards in my garage, selling them. And then I realized after that, I need to be doing something to make money for myself instead of relying on another entity. So
Right.
social media, and then fast forward to now. One of my favorite professors, she did Christmas decor in the White House when the Obamas were in office. And so
Wow.
she did a lot of mentoring for me. And so it just is what it is now.
Yeah, because I think when I just started following you, I don't know if you were so heavy into the headboards, but in your
Right.
design, you were doing the headboards and everything. So
Right.
so let me ask you something. Have you
Mm-hmm.
ever, when you first started out, have you ever um added something to a client's project that you paid for that they didn't pay for?
Oh, yeah. Especially first starting out, they wouldn't have well, first of all, I started off with $1,500 budgets, IKEA budgets, and I would try to make it look like $1,000,000. Hey, Ebony, I see you, Sharmia. So I would do that, and I still do it sometimes where I would come in and bring items to stage for the photo, so I can get a portfolio worthy space. But I keep those things tagged, and I let the client know, hey, these were not in the original budget, but you can purchase these, and they normally do, and so I make a little money at the install doing that. So if you're doing that, that's a good practice, I think.
Well, I mean, it's been times where when I first started out, I was
Mm-hmm.
putting money into it because
Right.
I just needed it to look a certain way. And I'm like,
Right.
I can't continue to do this. These people have to give me more money.
Exactly.
So when I got bigger projects and had a little bit more money, what I would do was, like
Mm-hmm.
you said, I'm gonna get photos. I'm gonna put everything in it for the photos. And
Yeah.
then the client would say, oh, I want all of that stuff, because
Yeah.
when you put the budgets together and you have a $1,500 accessory budget, they think you're tripping.
Right.
And until they see it in the house and they're like, oh, I want all of this stuff. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, well, here's the receipts. This is how much
Exactly.
how much it costs. So I feel like that's when you talk to designers and everything, you can tell the people who really love it. Because if you're
Exactly.
putting your money out your pocket to put it in somebody's house and letting them have it just so it can look good and you can get this reaction, because if they don't have a certain pillow or the certain is the react, you're in your mind, you're thinking the
Right.
reaction's not going to be the same, but they'll love it. Whatever we do, they just love it because we did it. So
Right. Being a stylist, knowing what little details can add to it and take away. And typically, if I say, well, these couple of pillows were not in your budget, and then I pull them back, they're like, wait a minute, I need those. And so, yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah.
So let me ask you something. So you started,
Mm-hmm.
your story is sort of similar to mine, because, I did my house, people
Mm-hmm.
loved it. And
Mm-hmm.
then they would ask me to start, nobody asked me how much I charged. They would say, Lauren, can you help me? I would help them pick out color, family members, friends,
Mm-hmm.
and everything. But I did it for so long. Do you think, with social media, now, you can buy a house, right? A person can purchase a house, then they can do their house, right? Take
Mm-hmm.
pictures of the house, and people love the house.
Mm-hmm.
Now they want them to do the house. Do you think that a person should start charging as soon as somebody asks, or do they have enough experience under their belt to start doing those type of things?
I would say always charge for your time, because you can't get that back.
Right.
Right. I would say always charge for your time, but you want to have some sort of experience or some sort of knowledge if you're charging people for a service. And so people ask me all the time, I get messages all the time, how do I start out, or what should I do? And I always say, look up the community college, take a class, learn, something about style, learn something about fundamentals or terminology, just so you can have something under your belt to make you valuable to people, because you're going to eventually and hopefully start charging them thousands of dollars for your work.
Right.
So, yeah.
Woohoo! Thousands. So one of the things that was scary to me, that I was very aware of when I started, before I had a website, is I wanted my process to be down. Like, that was a big thing to me, giving them information, having like information kits for them, some type of language, So I felt it just made me feel like more professional, like you know what you're talking about when you're giving
Mm-hmm.
them some information. So those are
Mm-hmm.
things and really having a rock solid process. Although I'm still trying to figure out certain things that I want to, tweak and everything. I feel like I have my process down, but I feel like when you feel confident about your process and how you go from consultation to them signing contracts, it makes the client feel confident in you,
Right.
when you have a good process.
Definitely.
Um,
But I would just, I heard you mention just refining things. It's always good to, there are always going to be things that you can do better. There's always room to refine processes. And that's kind of what I do. And so every time I meet with a client, if they have a question, I think about, okay, is this something that I may need to go back and add a little bit more detail in my contract? Or
right.
if we have a little riff during an install or riff during a delivery, I may say, okay, maybe I need to go back and kind of refine this part of the process to make it, easier. So definitely process leads to profit. That's
Okay, Ricardo. So let me see. So do your clients have a certain expectation regarding a timeline? Because I remember when you and I talking, you like my clients want this turnaround. They want that thing turned around
they
super
want it
fast.
so fast. And I think it's a part of just being excited. When you're going through a design process, you're showing inspiration photos, you're showing a rendering, or you're showing products, and they just get super excited to see their space transformed. But I always start out giving them an expectation of at least 8 to 12 weeks. And what I say is, expect at least 8 to 12 weeks. And frequently I can surprise you with a call saying that we can get it done earlier. But you want to give them a realistic expectation. Everything is not on Prime. Everything is not going to be delivered the next day by drone on the doorstep. If we're doing anything custom, it could be 6 to 8 weeks. And especially at a time now where a lot of deliveries are being halted,
Right.
always give them a realistic expectation. And then it's good to just surprise them and say, hey, I thought it would be 8 weeks, but it's actually here in 6. Let's get it done. And then they're super excited. And then we can move to the next space.
Right. Well, you're making me feel bad because I have um I'm just getting a presentation done in that time. Like it takes
Really?
me, yeah, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm working on multiple projects,
Mm-hmm.
right? And my brain, I have to give myself time. So,
Mm-hmm.
for me to get the presentation down, to get their budget together, to have everything for them,
Mm-hmm.
it takes about a month. It could take up to a month. Up
Okay.
to a
Yeah.
month and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But once they approve everything,
Yeah.
is rolling.
Yeah. Once you get to the selection phase and they've approved everything, it's just you're kind of just waiting on deliveries, waiting on shipments. But I think that if it takes you said about 4 weeks, you can probably refine that a little bit. Once you get your go-tos down, and that's what happened for me. Once I got my go-tos down,
Right.
what I knew I was gonna present, it was quicker. That
Right. So,
brainstorming
and that's
phase
the
was a
thing
little
I'm
bit
working
quicker.
on now. My go-tos. That's why
Yeah,
we were supposed to be in the market the end of this week.
exactly,
Because I
exactly.
feel like that's part of I'm all over the place getting things together, and
Mm-hmm.
where should I get this from and where should I get that from, and then I'm also looking for new vendors depending on the project that I'm, with whatever the budget is that I can use and everything. That takes
Mm-hmm.
time, and getting the price list and
Right.
signing up to become a design with the trade program. So yeah, it takes me a little bit of time,
Mm-hmm.
but what's the question? My sister's because she know I can't do two things at once.
Okay.
If you have a certain style, is it difficult for you to style something that's not necessarily your style? It's a very good question.
Oh, okay. Did you hear that, Ricardo?
I did. Is that for me or you?
Yeah, you can go.
I think I pride myself on having style versatility. So I can do traditional, I can do modern glam, I can do transitional new trad, and I love them all.
Right.
For me, social media has kind of pushed me toward a certain style because people engage in what they like, and so that's what I post for them. Or people see something that they like and they want it, and so I repeat that style. But I think style versatility for everybody should be important. You don't want to kind of rabbit your hole into rabbit hole yourself into a certain style, and then you stick with that kind of demographic of client,
Mm-hmm.
because I think you'll bore yourself. You'll
Right.
bore us on social media. So yeah, I think style versatility is important. If you don't like a particular style yourself, you're cutting off a whole demographic of people that would potentially use you. You
Right.
know, so diversify your portfolio.
Right. I
Do
feel
a
like
farmhouse. Do a farmhouse room. Come on.
I, I just think a farmhouse, I feel like I'm just gonna have to put a sign with words on it or something. I feel like
Yeah.
I can do farmhouse. I do a lot of modern, as you know, and most people who like modern come to me for modern. But I
Right.
know in my heart of hearts, you know, I can do just about anything. Like a stretch when my one client, the white room that I did with the white rug and the John Adler coffee
Yeah.
table and everything. And I thought to myself, I wonder what made her want to work with me, because I've never done like that glam look. That the glam is not really anything that I get a lot of requests for, you know, because I'm showing mostly modern stuff, but she wanted
Right.
like pink and a bunch of pink and all white and everything. So I gave her what I want, but I just refined it a little bit, you know,
Right.
because
Right. You put your spin on it, and I
yeah,
mean, style is something that you're gifted with, and so I think that just think back to like the design shows. They had no idea what they were walking into, but they had to put their best foot forward, you
right,
know. And so it's kind of like that for me. I go in and I have no idea if they're gonna say we want to keep this brown sofa, and
right,
so in my mind, I'm like, whatever they have, I know I have to make it work, and it has to be incredible, or
right.
nobody will ever see it, right?
Oh. So let me ask you, is what's your ideal project?
My ideal project, you know, full creative control, $1 million. We get those all the time, right? Um, I think it's really something that's textile heavy. Anytime where I'm coming in, I'm putting a lot of upholstery in the project. That we're doing custom drapery, we're doing custom pillows, anything like that is, I know I'm gonna have a good time, because that's
Right,
my thing. I'm a textile guy, so I know you do a lot of kitchens and baths and reno and demo. I can go in the tile and flooring shop, and that stuff is pretty, but it don't make me scream. You
oh,
know, if I go
okay,
in a fabric store and I see textiles and fabrics and rugs, those are my things. Those are the things that make me excited. So,
right. Somebody just asked a question. Let me see. Hi, I'm a beginner interior design. I want to know how to charge my clients. How do you charge your clients, Ricardo?
so I do a flat rate.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, read the books. There's several ways to charge. Some people do hourly. Some people do cost plus markup. I do a flat rate, and I do that because I kind of want my people to know up front what they're getting into. And the
Mm-hmm.
first thing, most of the time, the first thing people ask is, how much do you charge?
Right.
And then I'm a shoe shopper. And so with my shopping experience, I'm flipping that bottom of that shoe over and looking at the tag, or I'm looking in, wanting to know how much something is. And so I give a price up front. I propose that price. We talk about it, and you know how much you pay up front. So
Are
I'm a
you
flat rate.
negotiating your fee?
I typically don't. I don't. I may, like if we're gonna do 3 rooms, I may throw in a small powder room with if you sign within 30 days, but I typically don't.
Yeah, I do a flat
Mm-hmm.
rate as well,
Uh-huh.
based on hours. So what I found is I'll say 40 hours, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I feel like I want people to understand that I didn't pull this number from out the air, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
I know how long it's going to take with edits, with the
Right.
installation. So what they'll do is, oh, it's not going to take you 40 hours. Oh, you had to, and it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's probably going to take me 50 hours, but I'm
Exactly.
giving you this 40 because I know
Right. So
this is
that's
going to give
why
me.
I pulled away from hourly, because if this is your thing and you love it, you can sit there for hours sourcing. You could sit there
Right,
for you could go over and manage a lighting installation just because you like to see them go up. And so
right,
I feel like I was selling myself short because I was underestimating the time that I was spent there, and I was losing money.
right.
And so once you get it down to knowing exactly or a good estimate of how long you're going to be there, do it that way, mark it up some. And then for me, I went with a flat rate. And so I felt like I was always winning. They knew how much it was going to be. I eliminated the difficult conversation of having to say, well, I know I told you it was going to be 40 hours and it was going to be this much,
Right.
but it actually took 50 hours. And so you owe me, you know, $3,500 more. And they're
Right.
like, wow. And so it's just like when I'm in the shoe store, when I go up there with those 2 pair of shoes and I looked at the tag and it said that it was going to be $800. But if that clerk said, well, actually they went up during the time that you walked up here, so you owe us $800 more, I would be upset. And I would be trying to talk to a manager and wondering what's going on. And so I feel like I've eliminated that whole awkward, you owe me more money conversation by doing a flat rate.
Right. So for construction, you see people going in.
I see people going in. Some of these people are my clients. So
when it comes to like construction, is, you know, when I read and do research on designers who do a lot of construction, they're charging their clients like every month, you know.
Yeah.
And I feel like eventually I'm gonna get there. I got to get it past this little scared to do it phase, because you know, people don't understand that talking to us is billable. You know, us going to the site is billable. You emailing, texting me, all of that is part of the process. You're getting
say that again, because like I said, I have clients on here. One of them just put a roll on.
When we talk to you guys,
to
it's billable.
So
when you text, or I don't know if you do text, email, a certain amount of email, all of that stuff is billable. That's all part of the process. When I leave my house, or when Ricardo leaves his house to go to a site, that's all billable towards your project. So
exactly.
we have to be compensated for those things.
Right. No, let me say something though. So if I were doing any you talking about a renovation demo, any of that stuff, I would never charge a flat rate for that.
Right.
Because you go in and you never know what's behind those walls. You never know what's under that carpet when you pull it up. And so you could really get to a point where you are losing because of the time spent. So projects like that, I can't see me doing a flat rate for that.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, but you can do, but no, it wouldn't be a flat. It would be you would have your hourly, but you would just build them as, you know, throughout the process of the thing, because, you know, it's like you said, it's so many unforeseen occurrences that come in. It's just like, oh my goodness, you know. And then is the management piece. I mean, you can design it, but I'm still going to go there and make sure if it's not any of my crew, that the person I'm coming over there to make sure they're doing the correct thing, you know. Exactly. Because at the end of the day, it's my design. I remember when I first started out and my client used his cousin's person to do my design, tore it up, and all the different trades, they grinded me up. Oh, you picked that. Oh my God, you picked it. I'm like, I picked it, but I didn't install it. It's not my fault. So, you know, I just really, you know, when I'm using other people's contractors and everything, they're looking at me like I'm a crazy person, because do you know what you're doing? Do you understand that this tile needs to, like, I'm over there, and that's part of the process. So I need to be compensated for that. So, I
have one of your Insta stories saved from years ago on my tablet, where you were kind of talking about a contractor. You had the long face filter on, and you were talking about it's not your first time at the rodeo.
Yeah,
and so I'll go back.
when you know, so this is a tip for anybody who's getting any type of renovation. It doesn't have to be with a designer. If you have a contractor come in without a tape measure, without a pen, get rid of him, because it's no way he can give you a proper estimate. How is he measuring what you want done? How is he writing down? I asked, I had, you know, because I was trying to fill out who's my contractor, and I used these guys, and I asked them for an itemized estimate. So in the estimate, they had renovation 0. All this stuff, they broke it down and just had 0. And at the end of the thing, they had $10,000. I said, well, my math, 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0.
0.
What are y'all talking about? So it's like, come on. And that's all. I think that's like my pet peeve. I like people to know where their money is going. And my contractor, when he gives estimates for my jobs, it's all itemized. This is how much this is going to cost. This is how much that is going to cost. You know, is so
Right.
people can know where their money is and where their money is going, and they don't feel ripped off. So let me ask you this: do your clients ask for receipts?
So it's all, I already have it in my contract that I do like an itemized expense report for them. And so they know when we're going over the contract that they won't receive original receipts from wholesalers or retailers. And I let them know it's not that I have anything to hide. It's not that, you know, it's just I'm giving them more information that they would get from a receipt from a wholesaler for sure.
Right.
Normally, a receipt from a wholesaler will just have numbers. And so when I put that item into my expense report, I tell you exactly what it is, what it was called, how much it cost when it was purchased. And so I don't have people that typically ask because it's in my contract that I don't do that.
Right. Okay.
Somebody asked what Ricardo does if he has clients that pick out furniture that they love and then they text them back and they change it.
Did you hear that, Ricardo?
So we've selected furniture and they want to switch it out after it's been purchased. Is that it?
I don't know if it's been purchased, but they've picked it out and they tell you they love it and then they text you back and they change it. That's what the question is.
If we've purchased it, like if it's been ordered and they've changed their mind, it's a hefty change order fee for that.
Right.
And so that's why I give options and then I let them sleep on it. We go back and forth. And I let them, you know.
Process.
What did she say?
She said no during the process.
During the process. So what is she saying? So I send 3 options. I'll send 3 options for sofas or 2 to 3 options for all the pieces. They eliminate one and decide between the other 2. Sometimes I'll do, this is all 3 options will work. This is a higher end piece. This might be a lower end, and this is a middle, and then they decide. But during the process, that is what we're doing. I'm presenting things to them, and they're deciding. And so it's okay during the process if they end up going with another one. But after it's been purchased, it's a change order for sure.
Right.
We don't have time for that.
What software do you use to send contracts or estimates?
What software do you use to use contracts or estimates?
So I use my Doma Studio. So it's a project management software. Everything is there. Everything is virtual. So I send my proposals there. I send contracts there. They can be accepted there. It is a legally binding document. All of our messaging and inspiration photos and all of our back and forth is there. Now, with my Doma, it is really, because I'm so awesome with my clients, it is really tough to keep them in that message stream because they want to call, they want to text. But if we're doing it right and everybody is on board with using it, it is so easy to just have it right there. I mean, we can have husband, wife, grandmother, everybody on that message stream right there. And so if we're doing email or we're doing text messages, it's difficult to have the wife's opinion and his, you know, so I use my Doma.
All right. So I use my Doma because Siobhan told me she recommended my Doma. So when I first started doing my tutorial, I was in the middle. I had already did like a presentation for my client, but I segue into it and she really liked it. She liked, you know, seeing what I proposed. I haven't added my contracts in there. I don't know why I haven't. I'm so used to, it's like I finally got my groove. Now here's my Doma trying to get, you know, trying to take my groove. I got this process now. It's like, okay, here we go, something new. So I haven't put my contracts in. I haven't done my proposals. I've done.
So putting that stuff in is really copy and paste. You just drop it in.
I know, but I'm hating on my Doma because it took me a good 2 years to get my process down of how I do everything, and now I've got to change it. So I'm just like, no, I like it, but I like my Doma because it's easy. You know, if I'm doing like a virtual situation, my clients who could just click it's all there for you. But like you said, it's hard for them to keep the messages in because they want to call, they want to text you things. And one of the things for my new clients that I do is all email only.
Yeah.
Email only. Don't text this number. Okay. You email me and we'll talk. Let's schedule a call. So I can have a life, because they will text you Sunday. I had text messages from this one particular young lady, 2 o'clock in the morning. I would wake up to like 5 texts. Like, what? So that's why I said in my policy and procedures, I have that, we will only correspond by email unless we schedule a call. Your clients don't care.
They're not going to do that. I'm working with someone who frequently travels to Peru.
Okay.
And so he says that we're on the same time, but I always get the messages at like 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning.
Right.
And so I'll respond during my business hours, but the text messages do come through. And that's the thing. Like I value building a relationship with my clients. And so because I can talk design all day and all night. We can talk about a sofa all day and all night. Why you like the tufted one? I like the channel,
right.
I can talk about this stuff all day and all night, which can get me in trouble as far as time. But
right.
I allow them to text me. I allow them to call me just because, I have your $50,000. So you feel like,
right.
you should be important to me, and you are,
Right.
So, yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I understand I have their money and all of that, but we got to set some boundaries.
We got to, Sunday at 7 p.m. I'm at mom's. We eating and, so.
Right.
I will respond back during business hours, but it's nothing urgent. There shouldn't be anything unless the chandelier fell on your dog.
Right.
Well, really, you should be calling the vet.
Yes, I do have specific. Somebody just asked, do I have specific business hours? My business hours are Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. Before I did not have any business hours, and I was running around like this.
Yeah.
So I have a daughter, so I have to give her some time, and I just need time to just clear the fog from working on so many different things.
So some newbies on here that are wondering how they start a portfolio. How can one start without a portfolio or something to show? And somebody else wants to know whether either of you mentor newbies.
So I don't mentor any newbies. Are you taking any mentors right now?
So I have
mentees.
2.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have 2 that I have 2 that I mentor right now, and these have it's turned into a relationship. We talk every day. It's become a friendship.
Right.
So people do reach out to me all the time, asking, can you take me under your wing? Can I shadow you? How do I get started? And so for me right now, I don't have time to take on another mentee, but I will offer them go look at this blog post. This could help you, or I'll answer questions here and there. And then the other question she asked was about starting a portfolio. Just do projects at home, right? Start doing stuff in your home. Take photos of them and start there.
Right.
That's kind of what I was doing. I did my own place and had it photographed and start there.
And when I started, I was lucky enough to start. I was staging with a staging company. So I would, I guess this is probably why she didn't want us to use her pictures, because I ended up starting my own thing. But I would take my own photos of it. And I really, truth be told, I didn't ever plan on starting my own business. I thought I would grow with her.
Right.
But, it wasn't going how I thought it was in my head. So I had to, start my own thing. But yeah, even when I wasn't staging, I would just do little projects in my house and take pictures of it. And my recommendation for anybody starting who has a job like Ricardo, that you people should, start taking pictures. But if you have another income where you can have a photographer come in and do some shots, or maybe invest in a camera, because I do have a camera as well. You don't have so I would do, because I want content.
So I did that whole thing. Let me tell you, I bought the $1,400 camera because that's what the guy was, I'm dope with an iPhone. I know the angles I want and I can do it myself. So what kind of camera is he using? Oh, you need to get this. So I bought the $1,400 camera. I bought the $200 tripod. I bought the wide angle lens.
Oh yeah, you were being fancy.
Right. I bought the wide angle lens, but it's not, it's the editing. It's the
Right,
things
it
they
is the
do with,
editing.
yeah,
It
it's the
is.
things they do with the lighting. It's the things they
It's
do
the
after the
Photoshop.
fact. So I
Yeah.
decided, I got Photoshop. So I decided to stay in my lane, pay this man his money to do what he does best,
Right.
and keep it moving.
Yeah,
You know?
but for the sake of content, though, I did get me a little Sony. It wasn't a it was probably between $500 and $700 Sony camera, and you know, just so I can have crisp photos for. Uh-oh, you look frozen, Ricardo. Let me know if you're.
Am I frozen?
No, you're good. You know, just so I would have like I would make little displays of, you know,
do little
coffee
vignettes.
table things
Yeah.
and different that didn't require a whole bunch of lighting and editing, you know, because I wanted to continue to put out content to get, you know, people to follow me. But let me ask you something about social media. When I started,
somebody did ask, because we're talking about a photographer. Are you about to go on that? Because I want to address this real quick.
No, go ahead.
No. So, would you an interior photographer for sure? So for me, I started out, you guys, with a real estate photographer, and so he would come in with this huge wide angle lens. They would look really crisp and beautiful, but everything looked huge, and so I had to kind of train him to become an interior photographer for me. So I need you to zoom in on some of these details. I need you to capture some of my textiles and things like that. So a real estate photographer will come in for $150 and give you 30 shots, and it's fast. They'll get them to you that night. You know. Now, when you start talking about an interior design photographer, it's $900. You get 7 photos, and so it is an investment. But for me, once I started using a professional photographer for my photos, that's when the retailers started wanting to repost my work. That's when magazines started reaching out to feature my work. And so it is an awesome investment. So I definitely go for it.
Yeah, so when I first started out, so, you know, I did staging too. So part of it was getting my clients, you know, real estate for photos.
Right.
So I developed an awesome relationship with Plush. I'm sure they're not on here. Plush, hey, Mike. Mike is the guy who I use. So, because, you know, they would do video and everything for me. So Mike has a pretty good eye. So if it's a project that I don't necessarily want on my website because it wasn't super big, he will take editorial type of shots for me. So I can just have it on social media. So I have projects that are just for social media. And then I have my projects that I want to submit. And like you said, those photos are thousands of dollars. So,
for sure.
You know, and it's for bigger projects. So when I used my first, he found me on House. He was given a special, and that's when he photographed the nursery for me. And then I used them for another project, and I got that bill. I was like, my knees started shaking, like, but the photos just look so good. Yeah, they look so good. So for my website, all my photos are by one photographer because I just want it to be all coherent and those things. So speaking of social media, when I first started out, you know, I never showed any photos of me, of myself. You know, I just wanted it all to be about the work, And then as the social media really started picking up, you know, you have to show you. They want to see who you are. They want to know your story and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I'm like, oh, you know, I didn't really know. I'm thinking I want the work to speak for itself. But I understand that a story is part of it. How important do you think the work is versus the designer? Do you think the person who's doing the work is just important to gain followers and hopefully clients, or do you think that the work should, you know, speak for itself? Because you're pretty low-key and modest. You know, when you're on your stories, you never show you're panning all slow and, you know, doing your little, I'm like, Ricardo, let's see your face.
So here's the thing. I love design. Like if you know, if I'm panning all slow and showing that space, I love it.
Right.
And so that's the thing.
Hey, Rashida, go ahead. I'm sorry.
that's the thing. I really wanted to share my work first. And so because I was, trying to gain clients and trying to gain a following, I wanted my work to speak for itself. And I didn't want to cut off or be cut off by people who didn't want a male designer because of this stereotype, or didn't want a black designer for this stereotype. And so I wanted to put my work out there first,
right?
Gain a following, and then say, boom, you thought it was a lady, it's me,
Right.
So that was the one thing. But it really depends on what your end goal is. So if your goal is you want to be on TV, or you want to be a blogger who people see their face and a household name, then you do need to put your face out there. You do need to put some of your story out there. But if you want to do interior design, I don't think it's important that you're showing yourself all the time. You need to really just show your talent.
Right.
So that's how I see it.
Yeah, so I totally agree. I got sucked in. Listen, this social media is a powerful machine, and I'm not.
But you have a personality that we want to see it, like so.
But this is the thing, Ricardo. I keep telling y'all don't know me like that. Because yes, when I'm around you,
this is the woman I want to see. This is who, when we meet finally, this is who I want to see. I don't want to be quiet and subdued.
You hear my sister? I'm not going to be like that. I'm just going to be, people don't understand. When I'm on my story, I'm talking to my face. I like me. Yeah. Hey girl, yeah. It's like, what so it's not like I can see my audience. And I like to sit in a corner and just observe people. You get, you learn a lot about people from just watching them. So, I've had, mentees. I'll say mentees. And when they work with me, it's totally different than, when they see me on social media. And I feel like a lot of them wanting to work with me is, oh, she's fun, she's this and that. And then when it's time to get to that install, I'm cracking a whip. Listen, put the phone up.
Somebody just said, get this. I think the people agree with me.
I shouldn't have to tell you to do this. You love this, then you should know to pick this up. They're looking at me like,
I think the people agree with me on this. Kathleen just said she loves your Insta story. So when we get to market and we meet and you all quiet and all that, I'm ditching you. Like, I want the lady from the Insta story.
Ricardo said I could be a comedian. I said, you're taking it too far.
You could write a book and everything. You got a story.
Yeah, so one of the things I just, I know I have when I warm up to people, I am who I am. But if I don't really know the people, I'm not.
Lauren, the Diddy of design.
The Diddy, I saw that.
I've always wanted the work to speak for myself. And when people finally saw me, they said, oh, they always thought I was a white girl, especially with the name Ellen. Like, you're black. I'm like, who's Ellen? I'm like, Ellen would be me. Right. And I just always just wanted, people to like it and peers. In my head, I'm like, oh, I could do a show, but I don't think I'm really introverted. So I don't know. I would like to be published, in a, in an L or something. I'm going to be, let me just say I'm going to be once I get these projects and stuff rolling. But, I like I was saying before, I got sucked in and, now I'm pulling back a little bit because I want it to be more
design focused.
Yeah, focused and design related, where I'll talk and be me, but I want it to be more, related to what I'm doing. And then whatever. And then and then I can have my personal, but I'm so thankful for the close friends. I added you to my close friends.
Yes.
Because, you can, you see, I don't need everybody seeing Sloan running around here butt naked.
Right.
Just everything.
Putting poop on the kitchen table. Come on,
yes.
Sloan.
She just pooped in the bathtub tonight. So I just feel like, when I meet different people and, different vendors, and they always ask me, what's your story? And then you start talking about your story, they get so, they really get invested in your story because, once people see where you started and how, you did what you had to do, they really like it. But I feel like sometimes when it comes to this and when, people are spending thousands and thousands of dollars.
Right.
Let me rephrase this. I feel like for me, and I don't want to sound crazy, but I just want to be truthful. I feel like people get the wrong idea when you give them that proposal, and they're looking at you like, oh, you're a round the way girl, you're my girl, and then you give them this big ass fee. Then they're looking at you like, oh goodness. So I just, I want to be relatable, but I want people to understand that this is a business. It's a luxury business. And it costs a lot of money. It's an investment. It's an investment.
Right.
So.
Right.
Okay. So what do you think the biggest misconception is about you?
I think people assume that I'm unapproachable, and it's probably because I don't show a lot of me, or I don't do a lot of speaking on my stories. But once I get a lot of people who say, oh my God, you responded, thank you. And so rather people know that I'm open and I love talking design, so you can approach me.
We both have feathered pieces in our background because Ricardo wants to be like me so bad.
So bad.
Liddy, can you do me a favor? The thing that his rapid fire didn't print out. Can you bring my laptop down? Thank you. Okay, so you think that's one of the biggest misconceptions about you? Okay.
For sure.
I don't get that from you. I wouldn't get that from you.
Well, we chat. So someone said, you're so nice, Ricardo. Thank you, Kayana. Ricardo is mad cool. Ricardo was very kind when we met. You see that?
Ricardo's gonna be hopefully I can get him to show me some things. I don't know what took me so long to get to market, but he's like, are you coming to market this year? I'm like, yes. He's like, yes.
Seriously, so for High Point Market, they call High Point the furniture capital of the world. So every piece of furniture you see, that little stuff behind you has come through High Point at some point.
Right.
And so, it's awesome. You got to come by.
I'll be there. Ready.
Ricardo, you need theme music. Oh, what's my theme song?
What's your theme song, Ricardo?
I don't know that. Is that on one of the rapid fire?
No, it's not. So are you ready for this rapid fire? This is a little fun I'm going to have with Ricardo. There's no questions anybody asking about design or anything that you see, right?
No.
Okay.
I want to know who's cutting Ricardo's hair.
Oh.
What?
He's shocked. Okay. I thought we were supposed to be social distancing.
Let me tell you something. This has just shown me how important the little things are, like a haircut, a hug and a handshake.
I know, right?
I haven't had a haircut in like 4 weeks. My barber started out saying... I can't
tell now. Wait a minute, Ricardo. Now,
I'm going to get to it. So my barber started out like whispering in our ears saying like, I'm going to do house calls. But then the barber started dying from doing house calls. So he said he's not doing it. So I did this yesterday and today.
Okay, let me find out. You'll be moonlighting as a barber. Somebody
I got my little Sharpie and
someone asked, what are some of your challenges you've experienced as a male designer? That's good.
None. And I've been blessed because I've heard so many stories about I've heard of a noted designer published in Architectural Digest and all that, going to a consultation where they were stunned when he walked through the door and he asked for the restroom and they said it wasn't working. And so I haven't had any problems with that up until this point. So it's been a blessing. And then keep in mind, when you're reaching out to me, I'm sending you to my website. I'm sending you to my social media accounts. I'm sending you my references, and then we're having a discovery call. And so people are getting a piece of me before they
even see you.
Actually see me. And so I feel like I've eliminated that problem and weeded out those losers.
Right.
Yep.
I was going to ask you something and it just slipped out my head, and it was such a good question. Jesus, maybe it'll come back to me.
People want to make sure.
LaShawn says she won't ask any questions because she was late.
Oh,
thank you so much. We have people East Coast, West Coast. We've got Viva Bella. She's in Nigeria. I mean, we got a good.
Isabella, I'm coming to Nigeria. I saw before the 90 days. I'll be to Nigeria.
Oh.
Yeah. You better hold off. You need to hold off a little bit. Like.
So what I was going to ask you when somebody asked about being a male designer, would you date any of your clients?
After the process.
But what if you didn't do you did a living room and they still have 5 other rooms, but they're like you. They like you. You're attracted to one another. Would you?
Yeah, probably would.
You would date them?
But I probably would. And so here's the thing. I'm all about building client relationships. And so I probably would. I mean, you have to keep in mind, these people, I probably would. Let's finish out the project. We get it done. Everything is squared away. And then let's go out together after the fact. Is that a good answer?
Yeah.
Spill it, bro. But let me tell you
You're
something.
all about that.
I mean, when I was doing these consultations, I've had a lady, oh, come look at the bedroom. We go look at the bedroom. She had a nice piece of something laid out on the bed and asked me if she should try it on. So,
And what did you say?
No.
Did you say no because you didn't really want to see her? Or you was trying to
we don't know if he really said no. All right, come on, let's get to this. Let's get to this quick fire. All right.
Okay.
My phone. One more thing, Liddy. Can you do me a favor? Can you get my charger and everything? My phone is about to die. Okay, so we have 9 minutes.
Okay.
Rapid fire. Are you ready?
Let's go.
Toilet paper, over or under?
Under. Yeah, under.
Thank you. Herringbone or chevron? It doesn't floor.
Herringbone. Herringbone.
Okay. How many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop?
Oh. I don't know. I'll bite it.
Me too. What's your favorite car?
I really want that car Darren had. I want that Range. I want it white with the black top, the black wheels. I want that.
You love that. That sport is a sport. He got a sport.
Yes, I want that truck.
What is your favorite color?
Orange.
Okay. What was
you think it was gonna be blue because all the blue? No,
I thought blue, Ricardo.
It's orange.
You got people tossed. I mean, just people are blued out because of you. 3 licks, then a bite.
Then a bite.
Chiquita. What was the amount of your first fee? What was the first fee you ever charged? How much was it?
$1,000 per room.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
My first fee was $300, and it was for 3 rooms.
So, $100 a room?
Man,
you don't love yourself. You don't love yourself. Look.
I didn't know, Ricardo. I was so scared. I'm like, no.
Wow.
And then they gave me that little $300.
Yeah.
I thought I was doing something.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to lose one of your senses, what would it be?
Smell.
Because you wouldn't be hungry, you wouldn't eat.
Yeah, you don't lose. I feel like if I can see and hear, and I think smell. What would you lose?
My hearing. I don't want to hear anybody.
You don't want to hear that, man?
What's the last song you listened to?
So Kanye, this gospel album, I'm on this gospel album by Kanye, and he's basically just put Christian lyrics to some of his ratchet songs.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, man.
You love it?
I love it.
If you could steal a designer's career, who would the designer be?
Ooh, I don't know about that. You know, they don't be happy. People with money don't be happy all the time. And so I think that it's not in my time, and because I feel like I have moved kind of slow, and other people would beg to differ, but I don't think I would take anybody's career. I think it's not in my time, but it's in God's time, and so it's gonna happen for me, for sure. So I wouldn't take anybody's career.
I got about 5 people I would take.
But like, think about it. What if I said, okay, Kate Spade?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
right.
I wouldn't. And you would think that she had everything in the world, but she didn't think she had everything in the world.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know the answer to this, but I'm gonna ask: what are you going to market this year?
Yes, I'm a style spotter for. It was supposed to be spring and fall market.